Rtd Col Tony Nyiam joins us now to examine some of these issues as it's been developing for some time now. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, several questions,
Yes.
but the big one is, look, what do we just do to solve this problem?
I think basically it's an old problem, and like it was indicated by what the NDA sent out, there are the short term, that is the immediate response.
Yeah.
There's the medium term and the long term. But all this, at the root of all this, it's really an issue of injustice. In other words, today we may have NDA, tomorrow we'll have, yesterday we had MEND, tomorrow we'll have something else. If you have smoke coming out from a mound from different directions, why don't go and quench the source of the smoke, not trying to tackle the source from different levels? What is at stake is really what I find, ironically, what the federal government, for example, wants. Currently, the federal government's national economic objective is to diversify the economy. For me,
It's been an age-long one anyway.
yes, ironically, this is also what the Niger Delta militants want.
Diversification of the economy? How?
How do you diversify the economy if you do not allow the people themselves to have interest, to harness their resources, pay tax to the federal government? What am I saying? I'm saying that it's because of the lack of a holistic insight to the whole approach. What the federal government wants is what the Niger Delta wants. If you want to diversify the economy in true spirit, then you have to allow people to own their resources, harness it, and pay tax. You have to allow the federating units or states to leverage on areas they have competitive advantage. You have to allow the federating states to attract inward investment into their different areas. This competitive spirit is what would ginger the whole idea of diversification. Otherwise, we're paying lip service to what is serious. What am I saying? The two sides. Buhari has the same objective as the Niger Deltans. But what is there is that, what is the brick that they don't see that they have the same? It is actually mental laziness, as I see it.
I thought that, well, if you're actually saying that they want diversification of the economy,
Yes.
well, people think that they just want resource control and pay tax to the center, and not ultimately or primarily diversification of the economy.
No, because you see, we are trapped by this jingo, resource control, which is a distraction. Really, what it means
How is it a distraction?
it is a
We
distraction.
had it before in this
it's-
country.
No, it is fiscal federalism, which we claim that we are.
Isn't that another name for it?
No.
If they control the resources and pay maybe 20% or a certain tax to the center.
I'm suggesting that let us get away to go to the heart of the argument. The argument is this: in a country which says it's a federal republic, fiscal federalism should be the operative agenda. Now, it's because of what we have now is fiscal centralism. And that means that people cannot express themselves. They cannot determine how the resources they are endowed with should be utilized. And because of the lack of avenues for self-expression, people at times end up doing it violently. You see, I don't understand why we cannot see the connection. That's why recently Bishop Bonigi said so. The last Yoruba Unity Forum, it came out clearly that if we continue with this centralized system, you will give rise to people to self-determination. And by the way, people are so ignorant, even in government, who see self-determination as secession. Self-determination is inalienable human right of any people. It's all the conventions which we are a party to assigned to it. But then when people use the word self-determination, people think it's you are trying to succeed.
But if you look through the demands of some of the groups now, do you actually think that ultimately what they want is what you refer to as fiscal federalism?
No, you see, what I've watched over the time, I saw adverts of Tompolo. I saw the response of Ijaw leaders, and I also saw, if you do a content analysis of all these deliberations, they are all crying out for dialogue. And at the heart of it, like I'm trying to say, there are three phases. First, in the short term, deal with the amnesty problem. But that is, by the way, really. What they are asking for, which has not been solved, is that in any country, you cannot tell someone whose resources, you say the resources under the ground does not belong to the person. But that is the greatest injustice.
Last time out, we didn't have fiscal federalism when Goodluck Jonathan was president, but it was relatively peaceful.
Wow. Was that peaceful? Last time
did we have this kind of
at
agitation?
least in the region.
No.
That's why I said relative.
Like I was telling you, that when you have fire burning and smoke comes out from different parts of a mound, one time one will not be showing, the other time is showing. We have had kidnapping. We have had other things. Because why are they kidnapping? Because the youths are unemployed. In other words, the youths have not given the chance to self-actualize their potentialities. What everybody, the best practices, the global practices everywhere else, is that the self-government, give people self-government. It is not someone to be in Abuja to determine how a man lives.
Okay, maybe let me put it this way.
Yeah.
What did we do right the last time, the former President Jonathan's time, that we didn't have this kind of threats, this kind of agitation, and why we're having them now?
Very good question. The credit goes to Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua recognized the problem. One, he recognized that you cannot fight the fingers that feed you. President Buhari had to realize that he can't fight Niger Deltans. He can't. Niger Deltans are not the same as Boko Haram. You see, anybody who makes the argument that, our GDP is so much, our economy is dependent solely at the moment on Niger Delta. In other words, you can even see the power. Why? The power. If you check, I did an interview some months ago warning that you see, the president has to be properly advised. And I must say, I commend Ibe Kachiku, who is not being sycophantic and is telling the president what he needs to. But some other people are playing politics with this matter. The Niger Delta issue has to be dealt with. We cannot be playing about. You have a people who the country depends on them. That's why at the moment we don't have light. Our economy is down.
I'm sorry to butt in, but why do you interpret it as though the president's fighting Niger Deltans? Or is it that he's trying to curb criminality by different people coming up with different things?
I've not said the president is fine. I'm saying that the president needs to be advised that his first outing as regards the resurgence of militancy in Niger Delta was misinformed. Misinformed in that the approach was much, let's go and crush them. You can't crush people that feed you. You can't crush people who have, there's a terminology in political science, people who have history on their side. Where people suffer injustices, you can't say you're going to...
In this one, I understand your point, but in this, it's a two-way street here.
Indeed.
And that's why Chamberlain is asking.
Yes.
You said you've just answered a part, but you've not gone deeper. You said the credit should go to President Yar'Adua,
Yes.
of blessed memory. The theme here is that he's asking the question, what exactly did we do, perhaps right then, that didn't bring up another group as we have now with the Avengers?
No, you see, initially, after the victory of President Buhari, people got carried away. And that was why, if you check back my interview, I warned people misled him to think that some of the things that were agreed by Yar'Adua government, you could put aside. Amnesty became like a luxury. Oh no, we can face it out. Now, some of these chaps are still in training. And then you suddenly start cutting off. The boys have no more hope. With no hope, you push people to the wall. I am saying that the president should listen more to people like Ibe Kachiku, who are telling the truth, in that you have, first, the Maritime University, which was cited in Niger land, has to be. You cannot wish it away. That's the only thing Ijopu will have.
And that's not fiscal federalism.
Pardon?
That's not fiscal federalism.
That is, no, in fiscal federalism, the federal government has a responsibility. Since it started a project in a place, federal government continued. Since the federal government started a project in Niger land, which is the Maritime University, it has to go ahead. That was why I was pleased with Ibekachiku in Uyo was correcting others that no. The government has to be seen to bring development to Niger Delta. It's not to be arguing that what has been started by one regime because they acquire land or not acquire land. That's not the issue.
Now let's start looking at some of the demands of the group. Yes. Now that they have agreed to say they can talk, sure. But they say there are terms, and they say also they're not bringing new terms to the table. And